All right, today we're going to talk about Buddhism. Buddhism's roots start in ancient India, but it will spread to China. It also has roots in Hinduism. It's going to be a sort of very similar to Hinduism because the individual who starts Buddhism was previously a Hindu. So when we talk about the origins, it's founded by Siddhartha Gautama. He's going to become the Buddha or the enlightened one. And what's going to happen with Siddhartha is that he's going to be born a wealthy prince in India in about 1563 BC. And what you have to understand about Siddhartha is that he's going to be sheltered from the real world in India. He is a prince, he has money, he's rich, he has never gone without, and so he will be shielded from the realities of life. He was a Hindu, but at the age of 29, he decides to leave the palace and is met with the harshness of the world in India. So he goes around India, he travels, he interacts with the poor, the untouchables, and people who are living in poverty. Also, you have to remember during this time the caste system exists, so Siddhartha is going to be up on the higher end of that hierarchy, but he's going to interact with people who are untouchable and on the lower level. One thing that you need to know is that being enlightened means to know. It's kind of like a light bulb turning on. So when we talk about Siddhartha, you just have to remember that this man was wealthy, rich, and decided to leave his wonderful riches and experience the world of India. And what he finds is that it's not so fabulous being a Hindu in India. So what happens is he has the great reunification, which Siddhartha leaves behind the wealth and the family. And what he does is he proceeds to meditate and fast until he reaches nirvana, which nirvana in Hindu beliefs is like their heaven. It breaks them out of the cycle of samsara, which deals with reincarnation, the birth, death, and rebirth. And he became enlightened. And so ultimately he's going to take on this new identity of the Buddha. Okay, that's why the root word is Buddhism. If you practice Buddhism, you are a Buddhist. So, one thing that I want to touch base on is when I say the word fasting, fasting means to abstain or not consume, like not put in your body. And if you're abstaining from something, that means you're staying away from it, from all or some kinds of food or drink, especially as a religious observance. So, one thing I want to let you know is that Siddhartha, fast and meditated to the point of reaching nirvana and feeling very close to near death. So it's kind of like he had a near-death experience. But during that time, he got to the point where he was kind of near death. He interacted with different people. He interacted with a poor man, a poor Hindu, and how the Hindu discussed with him how he felt like he would never reach nirvana due to his life, and maybe this is what was chosen, and that he would never be able to make it. He saw the untouchables who believe that they will never ever see nirvana. And so Siddhartha is going to take these things into his enlightenment and realize, the caste system in Hinduism is not fair to all people because everyone is not offered the chance to reach nirvana. So the next thing that we need to talk about is the Buddha. So this is an image of Buddha. A lot of times Buddha is given more feminine qualities or features because in Indian culture they believe that is beautiful. Notice his holy glow right here, like an aura. A couple things. So when we talk about Buddhist teachings, they're similar to Hinduism. Why do you think they're similar to Hinduism? They are similar to Hinduism because Siddhartha was previously a Hindu. So there's a couple things that he likes to hold on to. First thing is reincarnation and the principle of nirvana, but Siddhartha is going to change it and say everyone can reach nirvana. So there are two large documents in Buddhist teachings that people use and follow for the path of enlightenment. Remember, enlightenment is to know, to be in tune. And so for you to be enlightened is for you to reach nirvana. And so you have to follow the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. So Buddha is going to teach ethics. Ethics deals with morality, good decisions, and it's having those good decisions even when people are not watching you, and having a good pure heart. That's ethics. Okay. Now Buddha believes that wants and greed is the cause for suffering. When people want something and they don't get it, it causes them sadness and pain. And Buddha believed that to want and to have greed towards something only caused us our own personal suffering, and that we should avoid feelings of want and greed. He taught that everyone could reach nirvana, which is like their heaven. And here's what you have to understand. Buddhism is going to have a wide appeal to people because he's going to say everyone can reach nirvana, whereas Hinduism was like everyone but the lower class and untouchables could reach nirvana. So this is groundbreaking during this time, and a lot of people are going to move from Hinduism into Buddhism. Also keep in mind they had a lot of similarities, such as reincarnation. So when we talk about the Four Noble Truths, number 1, all human life involves suffering and sorrow. Number 2, the desire for a life of pleasure and material gain causes suffering and sorrow. So for you to desire a lavish life of pleasure and material gain, if you do not receive those things in your life, it causes you suffering, sorrow, and pain and sadness because you're not where you want to be in your life. Number 3, renouncing desire frees people from suffering. So saying that you have no desire, but you just want to live your life. And it helps when you let go of these desires, wants, and drives to help your soul reach nirvana faster. And then the fourth noble truth is that the Eightfold Path leads to reunification or denial of desire and attainment of nirvana. So pretty much what Four Noble Truths leads into is saying, if you follow the Eightfold Path as well as Four Noble Truths, you will get to go to nirvana. So here's my challenge to you. Take a few minutes and rewrite the Four Noble Truths in your own words. I will check them.